Africa Today, thank you so much for joining us. And Dora is joining us as we are committed to give you the updates around the world. My name is Nahabe Kajura, but let's take a look at what's making headlines. Over 200 students to miss out as court okays Chambogo University's 17th graduation. National Water and Sewage Corporation asks MPs for support in addressing challenge of limited financing. And the Democratic Republic of Congo opposition leader Fayulu demands probe after rally brutality. In our sports today, Chidumina joins Express in Khartoum game moved to Sunday. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. And Africa Today starts with one of our top stories. Now, over 200 students are said to miss out next week's function after the High Court in Kampala cleared Chambogo University's 17th graduation ceremony set for next week to continue. We have more on this report.
A section of the students whose names are missing in the graduation booklet had petitioned the High Court, seeking an order to hold the September 21st graduation ceremony until the main case in which they challenged the disappearance of their data from the university's database is disposed of. However, on Friday, the principal judge, Dr. Flavian Zeija, threw out the application in which students sought to hold next week's graduation ceremony after it was found out that the affidavit to support the application was not made before the Commissioner of Oaths as required by the law. It was recently reported that results and data for over 2,000 students had been deleted from the university system, and Professor Eli Katunguka, the Chambogo University Vice Chancellor, confirmed that among those affected are graduates. The students ran to court to halt the forthcoming 17th graduation ceremony. On Friday, the university lawyer Cyrus Baguma asked court to throw out the application since the loan affidavit being relied on by the students was not sworn in accordance with the law and that it didn't have a date. The lawyer also argued that those who ran to court to halt the graduation did it without permission from other affected students, adding that it should be dismissed. Through their lawyer, Ronald Bwire, the students argued that it would be appealing for their quest for justice to be dismissed on mere grounds of technicality.
Thank you so much, our reporter, and we hope there is justice for the students missing out. Now, moving on, the National Water and Sewage Corporation Board Chairman, Engineer Dr. Badru Chigundu, has called on members of Parliament to support the National Water and Sewage Corporation to address the challenge of limited financing which has affected service coverage acceleration in all corners of the country. Take a look at the story.
Engineer Dr. Badru Chigundu made the remarks as the Parliamentary Committee on Environment and Natural Resources visited the newly completed Katosi Water Works. The committee commended the corporation for its commitment towards provision of clean, safe water and sewerage services to the people of Uganda. The legislators noted that the project was completed on time and within cost as per financing obligations that Parliament set during the loan approval process in 2011 and 2019 respectively. Committee Chairperson Dr. Emmanuel Otiam Otala said that they were happy to witness value for money upon completion of the Katosi Water Project, which is a success story and a great stride towards the achievement of SDG 6 and the transformational agenda of Uganda. Engineer Silva Mugisha, the National Water and Sewerage Corporation Managing Director, shared performance highlights, key strategic interventions undertaken, implementation status of capital development projects, key challenges faced by the corporation. He also highlighted the overview of the Corporate Plan 2021-2024 and the game-changing strategic interventions using 1990 as the base year.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, Africa Today takes a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In our international news today, Congolese opposition leader Martin Fayulu has demanded an investigation after security forces brutally dispersed a rally he called over election reforms. Now, police fired in the air in Kinshasa, the Democratic Republic of Congo capital, on Wednesday to disperse Fayulu's supporters, injuring some of the process. We have more.
According to Martin Fayulu, one of the more than 30 arrests, they have been told that everyone has been released, although they still have 2 or 3 people they are looking for in Kinshasa. He said that he was personally brutalized, touched, molested and insulted like rotten fish, with more than 20 people injured during the scuffle. Fayulu lost to Felix Tshisekedi in the 2018 election that many observers say was rigged. He accused Tshisekedi of seeking to undermine the Election Commission's independence ahead of the 2023 vote. In June, the National Assembly, which is dominated by Tshisekedi's loyalists, passed an amendment that was touted by the government as critical to strengthen the independence of the commission. Fayulu has maintained that Tshisekedi, who came to power after a shock alliance with former President Joseph Kabila, is an illegitimate president.
Moving on, in our international news today, Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi announced on Thursday that he had withdrawn the powers of Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Robo, the latest development in a bitter war that has plunged the country into a fresh crisis. We have more.
In a statement released by the Office of the President, popularly known as Famajo, the Prime Minister violated the transition constitution, so his executive powers were withdrawn, especially his powers to remove and to appoint officials until the elections is complete. The head of the state justified his decision by saying that the Prime Minister had taken imprudent decisions that could pave way for political and security instability, and that he had not carried out any consultation and collaboration with the President. The two men, who have had an intense relation for several months, have clashed twice in the past 10 days over dismissal and appointments to key security positions. On September 5th, Mohamed Robo dismissed the head of the Intelligence and Security Services Agency, Fahad Yassin, a close associate of Famajo, for his handling of the investigation into the unexpected disappearance of one of his female officials, Ikran Tahlil. The president overturned the illegal and unconstitutional decision and appointed a replacement of his choice after promoting Fahad Yassin to National Security Advisor. Last week, after accusing the president of obstructing the investigation and calling his decisions a dangerous existential threat to the country, the Prime Minister replaced the Security Minister. The president also ruled that the decision was not in accordance with the Constitution.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter Kachanchu. Now, schools reopened in Burundi on Thursday after being closed due to the pandemic and summer holidays, as the Burundian health minister issued mandatory testing for all returning students. We have more.
School children, many accompanied by their parents, attended several screening centers across the country in order to get their test certificates, allowing them to return to their classes. The Burundian government was one of the last countries worldwide to embrace the use of vaccines in July. Late President Pierre Nkurunziza, who died during 2020, was criticized for taking the pandemic lightly. The current administration of President Evariste Ndayishimiye said earlier this year that the country of more than 11 million people didn't yet need COVID-19 vaccines. Burundi continues to carry out mass screenings for the virus, and according to the health ministry, the more infectious variants of the virus are spreading. The nation has had more than 6,700 confirmed infections, according to the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Well, Africa Today takes a quick break, and more to come in our business news today. Don't go away. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In a business news today, the United Nations on Wednesday urged Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan to return to AU-led talks aimed at resolving the impasse over the hydropower project Addis Ababa is building on the River Nile. Take a look at this story.
A Security Council statement called on the countries to reach a binding agreement on the filling and operation of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. The last round of negotiations held in Kinshasa in April ended without an agreement. Under construction since 2011, the GAD is projected to generate some 6,000 megawatts of power once completed. But it has upset downstream countries, Egypt and Sudan, who are concerned that their water supplies will be affected. In July, Ethiopia announced that it had successfully finished the second phase of filling the dam's reservoir, further raising tensions with Khartoum and Cairo. Ethiopia says the facility is almost complete and due to start generating an initial 750 megawatts of electricity later this year.
Thank you so much, our reporter. Moving on in our health news today, women in Cameroon's village of Kambele 3, located more than 400 kilometers from Yaoundé, Cameroon's capital, are at risk of demanding their health when they soak their hands in water for hours while in search for gold nuggets. We have more on this report.
According to Francois Mbembi, who has been digging gold for 14 years and familiar with the risks, as soon as the mercury enters the women's bottoms, it causes damage, scratches the woman's body at the level of the women's sexual organs, causing problems for them. Mbembi explained that among the gold paners in Kambere 3 are many who have had what they call the wound on their private parts. One of the female gold miners said that where the mercury exposure occurred, they began to itch when they work in the water. Sometimes it hurts and causes wounds in their private parts, adding that others often go to the hospital. At the Batori Catholic Hospital, Dr. Beth Saler Ndifo is one of the regulars for patients with vaginal bruises. Over time, he says, he realized that most of these patients had worked in the mines and immediately made the connection to mercury, which is used there by almost all the large-scale miners to facilitate the separation of the gold from the tailings. Since December 2018, Cameroon has been a signatory to the Minamata Convention on Mercury, a convention that commits states eliminate this product from the artisanal gold mining process.
In our sports news today, Express FC has confirmed that their tie against Al Merrikh in the CAF Champions League second leg of the first round has been moved to Sunday. Now, the fixture had earlier been scheduled to take place on Friday, but the hosts have utilized the window that offers them 3 days to have the game played.
In a statement signed by the club chief executive officer Isaac Mwesige, the Red Eagles are solely not affected by the events and are focused on getting a decent result to continue their adventure in the competitions. The return leg was scheduled to take place on Friday 17th September 2021 in Khartoum in the kickoff at 8 p.m. but that has since changed and will take place on Sunday 19th September 2021 at the Shikani Castle Stadium in Obeid with kickoff at 9 p.m. The Express Football Club is now solely focused on honoring the fixture and will elaborate about the events leading to the change of the venue and date at the appropriate time. Meanwhile, standing in coach Simon Peter Kirumira, who was left behind for the trip due to travel documents, has landed in Khartoum and is part of the team. Coach Simon Peter will be on the bench to work alongside the assistant coach James Odoch and the backroom staff. Kirumira holds a CAF A license that permits him to sit on the bench in the competition, and as was in the first leg, Waswa Bossa will watch proceedings from the stands. Express Football Club leads 2-1 from the first leg and needs to avoid defeat to make the next round.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, before we end our bulletin, let's have a recap of our top stories. Over 200 students to miss out as court okays Chambogo University's 17th graduation. National Water and Sewage Corporation asks MPs for support in addressing challenge of limited financing. And the Democratic Republic of Congo opposition leader Fayulu demands probe after rally brutality. In our sports today, Chidumina joins Express in Khartoum game moved to Sunday. Thank you so much for being a loyal audience. From where we started from, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.